Hey everyone, it's Craig Garoni with Remax Masters Realty, and welcome to the very first Vancouver Real Estate Market Update for 2019. I'm here with the fabulous Dez Tsorpi.
Hi everyone.
And we are about to dive into what's happened over the past year for 2018, because it's been quite a ride in the Vancouver real estate market, and what's happening right now, and what's going to be coming down the pike moving forward. So stay tuned and let's get into it.
Well, the year did not finish as badly as some people were thinking that it would, which is kind of the good news. We've had 3 layers of government, as we talked about last time, all getting involved in cooling the super hot real estate market, both out here in Toronto, some of the smaller markets across Canada. Yeah. And with 3 different layers of government all getting involved, go figure, we had some unintended consequences. And things were starting to look like they were stalling. Mm-hmm. But we've had some good news from the real estate board, at least here in the Lower Mainland. We've seemed to have finished the year a little stronger than people were predicting. Our biggest sort of detached market declines have been in the ones that were the most expensive to begin with.
So West Vancouver, the west side of Vancouver.
Correct. East Vancouver, which was also trending. Richmond and Burnaby.
Right.
Essentially, those are the hottest markets, the highest numbers that were being posted, and those have dropped the most. And by drop the most, we're still looking at, nothing huge. Like, we're looking at numbers anywhere between, 8 and 13%. So a bit of a hit for people that needed to sell last year.
Yeah.
But, depending on when those people purchased, it probably didn't take as big of a bite out of their purchases.
Yeah.
They originally thought. Yeah.
And those percentages that you're talking about are just for 2018.
Correct.
Things in the detached market have actually been slowing since 2017.
Correct.
Right? So we've had a gradual slowdown. Now, when was the peak for detached homes?
Well, it's funny, people keep asking, right? Yeah, the peak in the detached homes was probably June of 2016. That was when we saw our highest pricing. And we moved a lot of volume that month. Like, that was when we had, hands over fist sales. That was a really good month for most agents in the Lower Mainland. For the detached market, it was probably May.
Of this year.
Of this year.
Right.
For the majority. We saw a lot of activity in the spring and sort of cool down a little bit in the summertime. That said, we're still seeing some nice upticks in, buyers' markets, certainly on the detached side, but some really strong sellers' markets for attached properties like condos and townhomes in some of the suburbs.
Right.
Yeah.
So, it's been a longer ride of a decline for the detached market.
Yes.
So, essentially since August of 2016, when the foreign buyers tax was introduced, right?
That was one. Yeah.
That began the slowdown.
Yes, it did.
And which continued through 2017, and of course even more into 2018. And it's interesting that it took that long for the attached market to become effective as well. It wasn't until May of this year that those condos and townhouses actually began to see some downward pressure on pricing as well.
In some areas.
In some areas.
In not all areas, that's right. Yeah, well, that's exactly what we've seen. And I think if we were to put sort of a finer point on it, it would probably come down to, rising interest rates, making it a little bit harder. Obviously on the attached side, the apartments, the townhomes, those are going to be more impacted by interest rate changes than detached homes. Probably more geared towards first-time buyers or people that are coming into the market with less equity. Then we also had, of course, stress test. The stress test was another one. Not only are we competing with higher interest rates for those properties and those individuals that we're trying to place, but we've also had the stress test be implemented by the government, the federal government, essentially, making it a little bit more difficult for people to qualify. Even if they could manage the current interest rates, they'd have to qualify at a much higher rate.
That's right. And that came into effect January of last year.
Yeah, so it's a trickle-down effect. The interesting thing is that we've had a lot of predictions saying that interest rates will continue to trend, and that the feds were planning on continuing to hike those every quarter or every opportunity. It looks like that's probably going to change. I think what we're hearing now is that the feds have realized that we've kind of overcooled certain markets and that we've slowed the economy more than they were expecting with those interest rate hikes. So am I expecting to see, or are we expecting to see a lot more hikes in the future? Probably not as many as they had originally predicted.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is great news for buyers here.
Exactly. It kind of gives us a little bit of a reprieve for the next little while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So in terms of the areas here in Metro Vancouver that are in buyers markets right now, we're looking at obviously Vancouver homes, West Vancouver homes, Burnaby, and Port Moody and Coquitlam as well.
That's right.
All right.
And Richmond.
What areas are in sellers markets right now?
Right now, sellers markets are pretty much across the board in the larger markets. North Vancouver, Vancouver East, downtown, Port Coquitlam, Pitt Meadows, Ladner, pretty much the smaller suburbs as well are all having a bump in the attached side. There's a couple of reasons for that. One is that we've seen the biggest amount of product come online. There's been a lot of record-breaking construction over the last couple of years in pre-sales. And that's all sort of coming online in the last little bit, and
right.
will continue in the next 6 months. People are flocking to those opportunities, right? Like they're seeing opportunity, and it's a supply and demand game. We've seen a lot of new construction come online, a lot of availability, and buyers, anywhere from investors to first-time buyers to people that are looking to basically upsize, downsize, lateral moves. They're all flocking to those types of products. Yeah.
That's a great segue into talking about what are the opportunities right now, particularly for buyers or people looking to make a move in the next quarter, three to 6 months.
Options, Craig.
Yeah. So one of the things you were talking about was pre-sales. Mm-hmm. For the first time, we're seeing developers now offer incentives.
That's right.
Right. Some pretty
good
nice
incentives. That's right.
For the pre-sale market. So if you happen to be a buyer out there looking at new construction, this might be the right time.
If you've been waiting to pull the trigger, and if you've had any concerns about interest rates or concerns about tying up 20% of your down payment sort of thing for the next couple of years, we've got some opportunities lined up for you. We've been working really closely with several developers in Lower Mainland, actually more than several, that have approached us specifically and said, look, for your buyers, we'd be willing to take a look at 10% or 15% down. So tying up less equity over the last 2 years that you're going to be holding it. We also have some incentives in terms of decorator allowances that we haven't seen things like this in a long time, but we've had the opportunity to sort of negotiate that with developers, whereas we had less power to negotiate over the last couple of years because there's been so much demand. So now it's nice to be in the driver's seat again. We're putting basically our buyers in the buyer's seat.
Upsizing, as you mentioned earlier, is another fantastic opportunity for buyers. And in fact, a listing I have right now, I think there were 5 or 6 homes for sale over the last couple of months. And the question I kept getting asked was, why are so many people selling here? Almost every single one of them that I've spoken with is upsizing. So a lot of people are taking advantage of selling their attached product here. They're able to upsize into a detached house in another area
100%.
and get far greater bang for their buck.
In a declining market, the best bang for your buck is always to go bigger. The homes that you're probably looking at in terms of upsizing have taken a bigger hit in the market, let's just say, or that difference between the pricing of your attached property or a smaller attached property versus a larger one has really shrunk in this type of a market and keep shrinking. So it's a great opportunity if you need more space, or if you want more value, or if you're looking at hopping out of an asset class into a different one, going from a condo to a townhome. It's a great opportunity. Going from a townhome to a detached house, great opportunity. And then of course also moving up if you just need more space in general.
Yeah.
So it's a fantastic opportunity to do that because your smaller asset just takes you that much further.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's a good opportunity to sit down with your realtor and tell them exactly what it is that you're looking for, talk about a budget, and be open to what the possibilities might be.
Thanks so much for joining me again.
Always
month.
a pleasure.
Look forward to sitting down with you again next month.
I'm sure there's going to be a lot more information we'll be able to share with our clients in a month from now. Now we'll have a lot, the compass will be pointing in a more definitive direction.
Right. Well, thanks very much for joining us, everyone. And until next month, take care and have a great day. Remember, this is where you live, love, own Vancouver.